Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Bill Bender is with us, as he will be throughout the college football season. We gave Bill some time off, but now Bill is forced to talk to me every week about what's to come in college football. We're a month away from the college football season. Kind of crazy. All right, Bill, so let's get started here. Big 12 Media Day. We got Big 10 coming up. We got SEC coming up. And, look, there's no real news to come out of the Big 12. We do hear a lot of talking. Deion Sanders making news for things he says. Mike Gundy coming out and saying things, and so nothing new here. It's just, a new world. And it does seem, I don't know if it seems like this to you, Bill. It seems like there's a lot of complaining going on from the coaches, complaining about attention, complaining about NILs. It at least feels that way. I hate to start off with that, but that's kind of my perception.
Well, that and then the two big takeaways I had were from Brett Yormark. One, saying flat out, we have one of the top three conferences in the country, which was a veiled, maybe not so veiled shot at the ACC. And then two, saying we have the deepest conference in the country. Now, from a parity standpoint, that is true. When you try to break down the Big 12, you could throw a dart at any one of these favorites: Kansas State, not Colorado, Oklahoma State, Utah, the preseason pool favorite, even West Virginia and Texas Tech. So, and maybe I should mention Colorado because they're the school that gets the most of attention, probably will get the most bets, probably will be the most fun team to play with on the video game with Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter.
Yeah, no, I think the video game is just so much attention right now. I know we've been talking about it here on SportsGrid too. Okay, so college football format, way different. I think the average person by now knows that we have gone from 4 to 12 in the college football playoff. So we're certainly going to get, I think, a better sampling of the landscape of college football. We're not going to be forced to have to yell and scream when teams don't get in the top 4. We'll probably do that now when they don't get in the top 12. But with this new format, does it still favor the top teams in the country, Bill? Or is this sort of like a March Madness where it's kind of like seeding, but anything can happen in one game?
Well, that's what we're going to find out. It's an experiment of sorts. Most bettors are going to take Georgia or Ohio State to win this thing this year. That's not a surprise. But, what happens when we have the Jordan Travis injury in the middle of the playoff? Yeah. That's bound to happen. What happens when we have that quirky upset? I'm not sure how many upsets will happen into the semifinals. But, if you're Alabama or Texas or Oregon, you want to make sure you're that second team in the Big Ten or the SEC so you're positioned to have a high seed, maybe get a home game in the first round. That's the one flaw in this Death Star that we keep talking about. Those top 4 teams, for whatever reason, we're still holding on to the bowl selections where they don't get a home game. So if you're Georgia, Ohio State, Utah, Florida State, the teams we have projected to win their conferences this year, you're not going to get that first round home game.
Yeah, but the thing is, Bill, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, that the first 4 do get a bye. Is that correct? They don't play in the first round?
Yes, they do. So in essence, the Big 12, Big 10, SEC, and ACC champion will get a first round bye. The 4 highest conference champions. I don't think there will be a scenario where there'll be a group of 5 champion that climbs into the top 4. That said, Memphis or Boise State, their dreams come true now. They get to be in the playoff. Right. I think it would be somewhat ironic. I saw the Mountain West Conference pool come out this week. Boise State is picked to win that conference. Boise State, to me, over the last 25 years, has been the ultimate Cinderella. Probably could have made a BCS title game one year. I think it would be kind of cool if they broke through, represented the group of 5 in the first playoff, and that's certainly possible.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it, it's more of the same cast of characters as far as the favorites are concerned. I guess the question is, Bill, is that do you think that a Liberty or some team that we don't expect climbs into this thing, wins a couple of games, and then faces a David versus Goliath situation, which is what makes sports fun?
I would hope so at some point. I think it's just going to be very hard. You look at the Fiesta Bowl last year, Oregon beat Liberty 45-6. Now we can say, well, it matters now. And right. Those times in the college football playoff era, the 4-team era, where a team like UCF beat Auburn or Houston won their bowl game against Florida State, we can always fall back on the excuse of, well, they had guys missing. That won't happen now. So, a couple dream scenarios for me are, 1, that upset happens, and 2, let's use Boise State as an example. Let's say they climbed into that 8 seed. So they get to host a home game at that point against, say, LSU or Tennessee. Can you imagine how riled up you'd be in Boise State and with that blue turf and you see LSU come out on it? I think that's one of those moments I want to see.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. And again, you're right. Getting home games at schools that don't really expect to be there is definitely a big change. As far as looking from the outside looking in, so let's pull up the longest odds that we have here on the board to potentially get to the college football playoff. Utah, let's start off with them. Utah, again, I mean, what's really interesting here, Bill, it feels like the odds makers are sort of hedging here a little bit. I mean, they're only plus 260. Like, you're not even getting 6-1 or 7-1 on any of these teams. K-State 3-1, USC 4-1, NC State plus 470. And I mean, I got to hammer the point home here that 12 teams are making it. Okay, so this isn't like 4. If it was 4, Utah would be plus 600 or something like that, and Kansas State would be plus 900. But I think the uncertainty has FanDuel and some of the other books really, honestly, not giving you a ton of value on any of this stuff.
Well, and the Big 12, it's really tough because, will they just get one team? Utah, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, all going to face long odds. And if you look at this Big 12 schedule, it's very front-loaded. Most of the heavy-hitting games are going to happen in September. So you're going to have to adjust those bets. I do like Utah as a little bit of a sleeper. I think they're a steady team. I just don't know how they're going to react to playing Big 12 teams that they haven't played over the years. So they're one of those teams to watch. Kansas State as well. And Oklahoma State. You mentioned Mike Gundy earlier. Ollie Gordon back, all 5 offensive linemen back. Alan Bowman's a 7th-year quarterback. This could be the year that the Cowboys break through and make the playoff.
Yeah, a great point about Utah, too. I mean, we just don't know. I mean, Utah's played that 1 or 2 tough games on the schedule out of conference. Now all the games are in conference and tough. Thanks, Bill, for coming on. We'll catch up again next week.
Hey, thanks so much.